Or that thing, I'm a friend of my children. I'm a friend of my children. Careful. In the early stages of life, your children do not need friendly parents. They're friendly mothers. They need mother, need father, strong presence, authority, reference. By the way, this is fashionable, right? Daughter's little friend. It has an almost equal life. Go together to the ballad. That go, that. Careful, careful. You may be causing an incurable absence in their children's lives. When you become his little friend, father's reference, mother's reference, we all need to have. If you don't have both, you have one of them. Or if you don't have both physically, we'll be able to have through a grandfather, a grandmother. This is more difficult because the relationship of grandfather and grandson is much freer. It is a sin to force grandparents to create grandchildren. It is very difficult like this, which is another scale of love you can see. You in the relationship with your grandfather, your grandmother, you could much more than when you were with your parents. So that's why children who are under the care of grandparents face more difficulties in maturity, because grandparents are more permissive. So, in another phase of life, beware if you, for work reasons, need to leave your child with your mother. With your mother? When in possession of this maternity, in the exercise from this role, fulfill your mother's authority well. Arrive together. Passes the question of putting discipline, because this is a fragile point of our home. We are very little shaped for the discipline. Discipline is a Brazilian problem. It's cultural, people, and sometimes we need to fight a monster. He's not used to being disciplined. So today we see a lot of permissiveness, because parents are not disciplined either. Sometimes you want to discipline your child in using this device. Your son is addicted to this device. Your son does not read a book. Your child almost has no social life. He is able to spend a whole day with this device in his hand. How are you going to criticize if you are having a behavior? We want to talk about discipline. But we have no discipline. That's why our relationships indoors today are so permissive. We are having difficulty demanding discipline from our children for this, for that, because we are also undisciplined. So we feel a little uncomfortable, right? You will tell your son that he does not smoke, but you smoke all the time. You will tell your child that you do not drink, but you drink all the time and live having problems with alcohol. So often our difficulty is because we don't want to change our rules. We want to be a father and mother, continuing living exactly as we lived before we have this responsibility. My people, this is a crime you commit against humanity. From the moment you bring a child to the world, your life changes. And first we played all this responsibility in the woman. The mother's life will change. Careful. It is the life of father. It is the life of mother. We brought a child to the world. We were not forced to do that. No one is pushing motherhood or paternity. Sometimes we bring the children to the world, but we don't want to change 1 centimeter in our way of living. There is no concept of family. There is no renunciation. No one will be a good father if he does not resign. It will not be a good mother if you do not resign. It will not be a good brother if he does not resign. The concept of family is much more than us. I'm being a family when I am able to renounce a little of my excess to live better with the people there inside that house, so that that house becomes home. They are parallel, right? The concept of grouping and the concept of family. Home concept. We may be a group, but we are not a family. Why? What makes us families? Family. Is it the authority without excess? Is it the responsible authority? Is it the context of renunciations? The cultivation of the bonds? And sometimes we are placed in a sequence and we think it guarantees familiarity. Guarantees no. The fact that this boy came out of you is not to ensure that he will be his son all his life. Paternity prescribes. Maternity prescribes. Fraternity prescribes. Stop cultivating two. Sometimes the other comes and screams, imposing us an obligation. I am your brother. Willingness to say, but stopped living like my brother. Just remember me when you need money. I just remembered me when I needed to use something. If not even the concept of friendship works like this, which generated the concept of brother. But you, my brother, may not represent anything for me anymore. I look at you. I know we have the same blood, but we don't live in one veins. The other's veins. At some point we divorced, because divorce is not something that happens only between husband and wife. Brothers divorce when the experience is not close, when it has no love, when it has no responsibility, when we do not live from a responsible authority, when we do not interpret the other as an ATM where I will satisfy my material needs. I may well divorce my children without realizing it. Just stop cultivating them, and when you try to resume the bond, you realize that you have become a stranger for a long time, because what will make familiarity be maintained is the values. So after you were a mother, you exercised authority, which you said a lot. You said yes, that you corrected, that you admonished, put it out of bed, got up, made it work, made study. After you were that person exercising that difficult, heavy authority that is hard for you to remove a person you love from bed if you know she's tired. But if you know it needs it because it is a matter of growth, you go and take it. So, if you take a deep breath and think, I'm now a friend of my son. My motherhood has become a great fraternity. It's not that you got your son's little friend at the wrong time. No. The moment he needed mother, you went. But now that he's already autonomous, that he has married, that he already has his children, you would get in the way of insisting on still being his mother, as you were in time he needed so much of you. Then you get that friend he calls from time to time. Mom, are we going to dinner today? Mom, are we going out to talk? I have no obligation anymore, but we will be together. How beautiful it is. I gave the mother's example, but you can think like the father. You also stay yet friends with your child, having exercised all authority, after having gone through all the demands of your paternity. Then you go and begin to live with your children. A friendship relationship. Father Fabio wanted to ask you a spiritual direction about the bipolar disorder of humor. I wanted to ask you if this disease I suffer has a cure or only has control. I have been treating myself for many years, but I was wondering if treatment can really give a result. I suffer a lot from this disease and wanted to ask for guidance. True. My people, how many people are today suffering from bipolar disorder? It is an impressive thing as this disease is growing between us. The result of stress, of this modern life we lead, this irregular life. So, medicine has already advanced a lot. We know. I'm not a doctor. But we have information that today there is really a treatment. I don't know if this is cure. It's a good question you ask me. Because there are diseases that really have no cure. You have control of the disease. You will be forever needing to deal with it. But it's no problem, right? It's like a diabetic, right? I had such a distorted view of diabetes, right? Monica, who works there in the office, who is the main person responsible for my logistics, for my travels, right? Monica has diabetes, and I see how much she lives well with that. Then I keep playing with her, right? Because it often eats it. Eat that. She speaks, not a priest. I have complete control. I find it interesting the way it deals with this limit. For her, she internalized that. I'm going to live forever like this. And she didn't create a problem with it anymore. Guys, our spiritual life is all the time. She has to change our behavior. Our experience of God needs to be practical. We need to find in these things in life the reasons that make us new. How many times in our soul things happen like that too? How many times inside your heart are not good, you are feeling bitter? You are feeling disappointed with so many things? But for that, you have no pill. For this, there is no tablet. And it is very sad when we begin to treat the process of depression, the process of anguish, anxiety with capsules. If we find out that there is a disease that we'll need to treat the rest of our lives, it cannot become a cause of suffering for us. Of course, suffering we will have. I didn't want to. I wouldn't want to have to spend the rest of my life by taking that blessed medicine. But if at some point in my life it happens to me, let's seek reconciliation with this situation. We are not suffering because I now find out that I have bipolar disorder, and I will have to take this medicine for the rest of my life. No problem with that. I think it's interesting that some diseases even bring a discipline to the person before they didn't have. Is not true? How many times do you see that this person has found the discipline because he found Thathed, such a disease? So, from the moment it takes care, which is being disciplined, she ends up doing an innate good to her. It's just like Father Leo said very interestingly. Right? He spoke as soon as everyone should live as if he had AIDS. Then I once heard him saying this, and then... What do you mean, Leo? The person who has the HIV virus, from the moment she discovers, she begins to take the medicine. Okay, so she will make her body react to fight that virus, that invader inside. But every carrier of the HIV virus has to change life as soon as it finds out. Because he will have to start to have 8 hours of sleep. He needs to start doing a physical activity. He needs to control the diet well. It does not mean not to eat, but means eating well. Why? Why? Because he knows he has a weak immune system. Because the big problem of the HIV virus is this, right? It directly attacks the immune system. So if it weakens the immune system, a flu that for a person who has no HIV is no problem, for her is a... Because it can evolve. It can become pneumonia. But when he knows he has the virus, and from then on he will start to live differently, he will judge in favor. So the virus plays against him, but he plays against the virus as well. How does he do? He will surround yourself with care. You will seek to have a regular life. You will seek to have a healthy life. Eat right. Sleep well. Seek to have a physical activity, preferably every day. 5 times a week. For us to consider regular physical activity, it has to be at least 3 times a week. So from 3 times a week, if you